Hari Om. A small notion on the idea of gratitude. It's a small sloka told by a devotee. And before going for the sloka, a small version on the devotee. There was a devotee who used to go to the Meenakshi temple every day, and he used to eat anything only after having the darshan of the goddess Meenakshi. And so this went on for years, sir. This went on for years, and a time came when he could not climb the steps of the Meenakshi Devi temple. He was so much worried in the house that he did not know what to do. At that instance, he simply prayed to the goddess that he was unable to come to have her darshan as he was feeble to climb all the steps and go to her temple. And also he pleaded that he would not have anything to eat or drink unless he had the darshan of the goddess. So in brief, this is about the devotee. And one day passed, he went on fasting. The second day also the same thing. And on the third day, he was just lying like that, thinking about the goddess. Suddenly the goddess appeared in his house, and she said that from that day onwards, she would stay in his house only because he was unable to climb all the steps and go to the temple to have her darshan. And also she said that she was very happy with the selfless service he rendered all the years in climbing the steps and having her darshan. And now, what is the service he rendered? Let us just analyze. So, every day morning, he used to have his bath and put the holy tilak on his forehead, smear with the vibhuti on his forehead. Then, at the time of climbing steps, he used to utter her name for each and every step. And once in a while, he used to wash the steps. So, and also at the time of sleeping or whenever he got the time, he used to chant her holy mantra with the Rudrakshamala of 108 beads he put in his neck. So he was such a pious person that the goddess, she came down herself and gave him the darshan at his house. And now this is a small brief about his life. And then finally what he did. So he understood that he could not climb the steps anymore because after all it's a physical body and mind may run to any place, but the physic may not support all the time. But his mind was so much bent on to have the darshan of the goddess. And he was so happy. He was so happy that he was filled with gratitude, with tears in his eyes. He did not know how to praise the goddess, how to worship the goddess. Just tears flowed down his cheeks, and With the tears, he washed the pious feet of the goddess and then made her sit in his house, showed her a place which is very high, and from that day onwards, he worshipped her in the house only. So, this is one aspect. And then how he showed the gratitude. So, in one sloka, a very few lines, I don't know whether this is there, the entire one, but I'll just tell a few lines. भस्मान्दोलन भद्रमस्तु भवते रुद्राक्षमाले शुभे आसोपान परम्परे गिरिसुतान्त्यालयालङ्कृते भो देवाहं पितरस्य तर्पणविधो. Once again, I'll tell the sloka. भस्मान्दोलन भद्रमस्तु भवते रुद्राक्षमाले शुभे आसोपान परम्परे गिरिसुतान्त्यालयालङ्कृते भो देवाहं पितरस्य तर्पणविधो. So it goes like that, something. So to what all he showed the gratitude. I think it is not only he, but we all must show the gratitude in that way. So that's why somehow, whenever I remember this sloka, I feel that we are nothing comparatively. So we have to be grateful to each and everything that comes in contact with us, that awakens us, our inner soul. So really it is such a fantastic, wonderful sloka. So for what all he showed the gratitude, let us see first one. Bhasmandolana bhadramastu bhavate. What he said. So the vibhuti which he smeared on his forehead, he said, oh, vibhuti, you be safe. You be so secured. So because you are so good. And every day I used to smear you on my forehead before going to the temple. Then he showed gratitude to the tilak, that means to the kumkum, which he used to put in the middle of his eyebrows. He said, you also be so safe and secure. I am so grateful to you. Then the Rudrakshamala. So he used to chant the goddess name with the beads, counting 108 times whenever he had time. And sometimes Ajapa also he used to do because of the Rudraksha. He used to carry the Rudraksha mala in his hands and do this Ajapa mantram. So for that also he showed his gratitude. He said, because of you, I did this Maha Mantram. So Japam of the Maha Mantram. And I had the divine grace of the goddess. Then he said, finally, the steps which paved the way for him to reach the goddess, which is in the shrine, in the temple. So he used to climb all the steps, chanting the holy name of the goddess at the time of climbing the steps. And he also said that you also be so safe and secure, because it's only because of you I could climb and all the steps and go to the temple to have the darshan of my goddess. So that is the ultimate really wonderful one. Even we also, right from our childhood, will be in our house, the parents will be telling, or the grandparents will be telling you, after having your bath, you go to the shrine at the Simhasanam in the house and take the bindu and put it in your forehead. Just say the prayers which you can, which you know, and only after saying the prayers, you take the food, which is the prasad that the God had given that day. And then we must be so much grateful to all the great outstanding personalities who made us know all these things, who made us know. So actually now the trend has changed. To put a tilak, to put a that kumkum in their forehead, the people are feeling shy. But they are keeping the cigarette in their mouth, like korivi. That's also red in color. Then the tilak also is red in color. The kumkum is red in color. So why not they put that? It gives a holy feeling for them, a pious feeling. So here, now we also, we should be grateful for each and everything that comes in contact with us, that illuminates us, that touches our soul, and awakens the soul, the sleeping soul. Because most of us, actually most of our, not us, most of our sense organs, they are outside, and we are lured by the outside vanities. But when do we peep inside and we know the beauty of our soul? How can we know the beauty of our soul unless we peep inside? And then when we know the beauty of our soul, then we'll be thinking that we must know so many other things. We must learn so many other things. We must realize ourselves. Then when we can come to this understanding, then we feel, yes, God has given us these two hands for us to say namaste. So even to pray to God, to all the outstanding personalities. How can we show the gratitude? How can we show the gratitude unless and until we read, we try to understand, and we try to inculcate in our daily lives? So this is a very small sloka by the devotee. But it is, in fact, it is not small. It is something for us to realize that we also must be so grateful. So grateful. Every house is the temple of the Most High. Every puja mandir is the temple of the Most High. Every deity in the house, in the Simhasanam, is the highest deities. And when we sit in front of them, when we sit in front of the Simhasanam, when we say aloud the stotras, then a time comes when our eyes, they shed tears. They shed tears unknowingly. And that is the ecstasy what we feel in praying. That 1 second or 1 minute or 1 second is more than enough. We feel that God has accepted our prayers. We feel so grateful. We feel so grateful to the God that has given us such a great life, such a great power of understanding, such a great intellectual abilities, not intelligence. Intelligence even animals have. But if we live like animals, like eating, roaming, sleeping, what the animals do, then what makes the difference between animals and we? There is something more for us to do. There is something more for us to understand. And that we have to do it. And what we can do when our life goes away from us, when we are alive, when we are able to understand things, when we are able to know things, when we are able to understand the concept, when we are able to illuminate ourselves, then we don't do. How can we expect that we can do some other time? That is absurd, actually. That's absurd. When we are alive, when we are able to understand, when our mind is able to grasp something, that is the time when we have to make it for our life. So that means we need not quit our responsibilities. But our life is our life. Responsibilities are not the soul of life. Responsibilities, we have to complete it. We have to fulfill that. But for our life, what we want to do, what is the highest abode that we want to reach. So that we have to think. And then by arrogance is nothing but ignorance. Egoism is nothing but ignorance. So these two we have to leave. And then if we catch hold of the wisdom, the knowledge and wisdom, if we move forward, then we'll be unfolding so many things, and we'll be unleashing so many things. Then really we feel so grateful for God for giving us this beautiful life, for giving us this life. Sometimes we feel what we haven't achieved anything. So forget about achievement. Why we want achievement? Knowing is more important, not achieving. Knowing is more important. Knowing of ourselves. What are we? From where have we come? Where have we to go? Whom we must keep in us. So for whom we must make our heart a temple, a mandir. So these are the thoughts that must all the time probe into our minds. They must linger, they must wander in our minds, for which we get the answer. And then we feel so grateful for everything, for everything, for everything, even for the hands that God has given us, for the voice that God has given us, for the eyes that God has given us to see His beautiful nature, because He is not separate from nature. He is not separate from creation. He is the creator, He is the creation, He is the created. So everything is He only. Then how grateful we be. Just as the devotee, he was grateful for all the things, for all the things, for all the things, even for jhadu, broom, because he used to sweep the house with the broom and make it clean and neat, tidy for the God to dwell in. So this is what, in a simple way, what the devotee said. So I think we all also must show the same gratitude to each and everything. So when we go to the temple, if the steps are not there, how can we reach to the temple? If the road is not there, how can we reach to the temple? Okay, steps. Sometimes then some may ask, then there is the road, if not the steps. If the road is not there, how can we reach? So either the road or the steps or our thought to go to the temple, the thought itself, it invokes so much of energy. The thought of the Lord Himself invokes a lot of energy in us. The energy that is embedded in us, the energy that is hidden in us, the energy that is tranquil in us. So in this way we can show the gratitude, and we have to show it. So even for the future generations also who don't know about this gratitude, we have to tell them. We have to tell them, because living is not for only life. Living is for living. Living is for living our life, for knowing ourselves. So this is very important, and it's a very beautiful message given by the devotee, whoever it is. This one I read about very long back, and 20, maybe 25 or 30 years ago. I don't remember properly who is the devotee, but he was a devotee of the Meenakshi Devi, and he recited this sloka in gratitude to all the things that helped him to go to the temple, and also that helped him to have the vision of the goddess, the divine vision of the goddess. Hari Om.